On this show last night, I interviewed Lieutenant Colonel Victor Fehrenbach, a 19-year Air Force veteran who had just filed a lawsuit to stop his discharge under the Pentagon's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. Colonel Fehrenbach filed that lawsuit because his lawyers had learned that his case had gone from a review board to the Secretary of the Air Force. Colonel Fehrenbach, let me start with you. I know you received word last Wednesday that your case had been sent to the Secretary of the Air Force with a recommendation. Is it your understanding that that means the recommendation is almost surely that you should be separated from the military?
That is our understanding, Rachel, because the way the regulation reads, if the Personnel Review Board decided to retain me, then there'd be no reason for my case to be forwarded to the Secretary of the Air Force. The only reason it would be forwarded to the Secretary was if the recommendation was for a discharge.
The information from Colonel Fehrenbach's lawyers that his case had gone to the Secretary of the Air Force was also reported in the New York Times last night. They wrote, quote, an Air Force spokesman, Captain Derek White, said that Colonel Fehrenbach's case was under final review by the Air Force Secretary Michael B. Donnelly, and that until a final decision was reached, the Air Force would have no comment. Today, though, weirdly, the Air Force is disputing its own statement, saying in a press release, quote, several media accounts have inaccurately reported that Michael Donnelly, Secretary of the Air Force, is reviewing Colonel Fehrenbach's case. This is not accurate. The case is still undergoing review at the Air Force Review Board's agency. Okay, Air Force, now you say the Air Force Secretary isn't reviewing Colonel Fehrenbach's case. But if our reports about that were inaccurate, it's your fault, because that's what you told us on the record. So now apparently after a lot of inconsistent and weirdly blustery communication from the Air Force, where things stand is this. They want us to believe that the clock is not ticking on Colonel Fehrenbach's separation from the military, that a 10-day window has not yet opened within which the Secretary of the Air Force must make a decision about whether or not Colonel Fehrenbach will be fired. They say the window hasn't opened, time hasn't started, that process is not underway. And so we're back to not knowing whether he will be fired or when he will be fired. We're back to wondering how much more time he and his 6 combat deployments and his 9 air medals, including one for heroism, will twist in the wind while an uncertain, unhurried process in Washington determines if the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy will be ended before Victor Fehrenbach's career. We will keep you posted as soon as we know more.